AP will do it wrong, so we're here to do it right. Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert here with our Week 6 GE Top 25 poll. Our official Top 25 rankings right here at the channel. And I have just barely recovered from what was a wild Week 5. A Week 5 that featured tons of big-time upsets and arguably featured the game of the year between Georgia and Alabama. So naturally, we saw lots of shakeups in our rankings, and we said that was going to happen. You looked at our rankings heading into Week 5. We said, by the time the week's over, the rankings are going to look drastically different. And that's exactly what we have today. So we're not going to hesitate. We're not going to delay it any further. Let's dive in to our new rankings where we do have a new number one team. Surprise, surprise. Our third number one team this year, right? We went from Georgia to Texas and now Alabama, who claims the number one spot in our GE Top 25 poll. The Crimson Tide looked like they were going to run away with that game against Georgia, absolutely dominate and blow them out before the Bulldogs made a remarkable comeback, and Alabama, actually trailing by one at one point, had to come back and win the game. So it was a great game from start to finish, really, in my eyes, but Alabama has the best win of any team in the country right now. I don't think there's disputing it. Yes, Texas went on the road and dominated Michigan. That's a great win, but Alabama beating the number two team in the country at the time, that is the best win by any team in the country as of right now. And the Crimson Tide look like a true national title contender. They look like they haven't even missed a beat since the departure of Nick Saban. So Alabama in at number one, up 4 spots. Texas dropping only 1 spot after their somewhat lackluster performance against Mississippi State, 35-13. But again, not really punishing the Longhorns. Wasn't a great performance, but they did win by double digits. But Alabama's win obviously trumping them. They get up to number 1. Tennessee was on a bye week. They were number 3 for us last week. They remained there this week ahead of Ohio State, who did beat Michigan State 38-7 on the road, as we expected. And if that game had been close, it would have been concerning, but a 31-point win is nothing to frown about. Number 5 is Georgia. They dropped 3 spots. We just talked about it. They were number 2. They dropped 3 for us to number 5. I mean, again, a remarkable effort by Kirby Smart's Bulldogs, a remarkable comeback by his team. I was, for a second, really thought Georgia was going to find a way to pull out that victory. They don't deserve to plummet, right? They weren't going to fall, down to number 10 or number 8, something like that. It was a very close game in a tough road environment in Tuscaloosa. Georgia absolutely deserves to fall a handful of spots, but not a ridiculous amount. They are still a college football playoff contender, one of the best teams in the country. They are still, in my eyes, a top 5 team, and they come in at number 5. Penn State jumps Miami up to number 6. Miami stays the same for us at number 7 following their very controversial victory over Virginia Tech, a game that, even though it was controversial, even though it came down to the final seconds, it really shouldn't have. Miami was a 17-point favorite. At one point, I think the line got up to nearly 20 points, and the Hurricanes just let the Hokies hang around. And, some would say they should have lost that game. Some Virginia Tech fans, I believe, probably do believe that they won that game. Miami actually lost. But the Hurricanes stay at 7. Penn State, though, beat a top 20 Illinois team by 14 in Happy Valley. They get up to number 6 ahead of the Hurricanes. And then because of some losses that we saw in the top 10, namely Utah and Ole Miss, a handful of teams, Oregon, Missouri, and Michigan, all moved up a few spots. Again, that's the beauty of taking care of business, even if it's against a lackluster opponent, and then having teams ahead of you lose. Ole Miss gets upset by Kentucky. Utah gets upset by Arizona. So Oregon moves up 2 spots after their 21-point win over UCLA. Missouri didn't even play, but they are back in the top 10 now due to the losses ahead of them. And then Michigan survived a late rally from Minnesota. Very close rally from Minnesota to win 27-24, and the Wolverines move from number 12 to number 10 in our rankings. So that wraps up our top 10. Again, I don't think that can be highly disputed. Someone goes, where's USC? Well, you can't put USC ahead of Michigan, considering that the Wolverines do own that head-to-head. So USC right on the outside looking in. We'll get to that in a second. But that's our top 10 heading in to Week 6. Again, a new number 1 in Alabama. Georgia dropping to number 5. A handful of shifts. Obviously, Ole Miss and Utah dropping out. We'll get to them in a second. But honestly, nothing too drastic besides that new number 1 team in the country. We're going to continue on with the rest of our rankings. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. We've got a new sponsor for the show this season, Chris Gates Fitness and his online fitness training camp. Training Camp is a monthly fitness program designed specifically for football fans. And it's like nothing I've ever seen before. With hundreds of different workouts and exclusive content such as the calorie calculator and, my personal favorite, the low-calorie, high-protein tailgating cookbook, Training camp is a must for any football fan looking to get or stay in shape. With Chris as your coach, you'll get top-notch guidance. He's been coaching people online since 2018, and like all of you watching, he's a die-hard football fan. His clients consistently get results by implementing a flexible approach to diet and exercise. So if you're interested in getting brand new workout programs every month, fitness challenges every month to push you to develop healthy habits, challenges within the training camp community like weekly football pick'ems, access to live Q&As where you can get direct, personalized support from Chris with your health and fitness, and the support of a community of people there to encourage you every step of the way, you need to visit chrisgatesfitness.com/gridironexpert, the link down in the description below. Learn more, sign up today, and use our promo code GRIDIRON to get your first month for just $10. And definitely don't miss out on Chris Gates Fitness. They've got some great stuff going on over there. Weekly football pick'ems for prizes. They've got some step challenges for big-time prizes over there. You do not want to miss out. Again, 80% off using our promo code GRIDIRON. You're not going to find a deal like that anywhere else. So go sign up today. Getting the link for that down in the description below. So we talked about USC. We said, hey, where's USC? They're number 11, right? They're right on the outside looking in. They beat Wisconsin 38-21. We're down 21-10 at halftime. Very concerning out in the Coliseum. Trojans woke up offensively, shut out Wisconsin in the second half to win by 17 points and cover that spread as well. So USC up to number 11 ahead of LSU, who they own the head-to-head tiebreaker over. LSU crushing South Alabama. Was expected, but South Alabama, considering the offensive explosion we've seen from the Jaguars the last few weeks, some people thought they might be able to hang with LSU in Baton Rouge. That was not the case. LSU dominating from start to finish. They are up 2 spots to number 12. Notre Dame up 4 spots following their top 20 victory, top 15 victory really, over Louisville, 31-24. The Cardinals significantly outgained Notre Dame in that game, but it was the defense of Notre Dame. It was the mistakes made by Louisville. And when I say defense, they allowed a lot of yards. It was coming up clutch when they needed to. That honestly played Louisville. Honestly, it was kind of like a reverse of last year's game in my eyes. Notre Dame making tons and tons of mistakes, ended up losing on the road. Same thing for Louisville now. Tons and tons of mistakes, lost on the road. But Notre Dame, regardless, maybe finding their groove a little bit. Big-time win for them. They haven't lost since that Northern Illinois loss. They've got a win over A&M, which is slowly looking better by the day. So Notre Dame up 4 spots to number 13 with their best win of the season by far. Behind them, Iowa State at number 14. Some are going to say the Cyclones are too high in our rankings, and I would disagree. They just shut out Houston on the road, 20-0. And again, Houston's not some world beater. Houston's not something to brag about. But this Iowa State team has only allowed 29 points all year. 29 points all year long. And again, their schedule hasn't been great. Their best win is on the road against Iowa. The schedule's about to get a lot tougher, but I like this Iowa State team a lot. This is a wide open Big 12 this year. Oklahoma State practically out of it now, but you got Kansas State, Iowa State, BYU. It is a wide open conference, and the Cyclones are at the forefront of being a true contender. I've got them in at number 14 over Ole Miss, who should not have lost to Kentucky. Listen, some would say dropping them 9 spots is a little harsh, but you're at home as a 17-point favorite against a Kentucky team that's wildly inconsistent. They get destroyed by South Carolina, but then they only lose by Georgia by 1. And, they've got a couple cupcake wins on there, and then they come into your house and beat you? That's not acceptable for a team that's expecting to be a college football playoff contender, or for a team that wants to brag about having one of the best offenses in the entire country. You got shut down at home against a Kentucky team that, again, is very well coached and has a lot of talent. Just really hadn't lived up to the expectations so far this year. Now they maybe have. Ole Miss does drop 9 spots. I'd love to see Ole Miss's offense go up against Iowa State's defense. I think that'd be a lot closer than people realize. So I've got Ole Miss still as a top 15 team, but yeah, they deserve to plummet when they were heavy favorites and looked absolutely atrocious in that game. Again, the season is still everything left ahead of them. They can still make the playoffs, but they've got a lot of work to do. This was a game that Ole Miss needed to win. Ole Miss was supposed to win. They did not get the job done, and therefore they're going to drop quite a bit in our rankings, but still in the top 15. Clemson, BYU, Kansas State, all big risers this week. Clemson's offense, they have found one. Love what I'm seeing out of Garrett Riley and Cade Klubnik and Dallas Swinney. Yes, their schedule hasn't been super daunting over these last few weeks, but it's been great to see Clemson having this offensive explosion. They put 40 points on Stanford, who just the week prior went on the road to Syracuse and won. So a big-time win for Clemson, 40-14. Got a big game against Florida State coming up this weekend. BYU, maybe the front runner in the Big 12. We've got Iowa State as the highest-ranked team there right now, but this is a dangerous BYU team that's undefeated and just went on the road to Baylor and got a 34-28 win. Love what I'm seeing out of Kalani Sitake and the Cougars. Love what they're doing on both sides of the ball. Watch out, guys. This team should be going bowling. We shouldn't see a collapse like we saw last year. They're playing really, really good football and are a sneaky, dangerous team. We've got them all the way up to number 17 in our rankings. Could be in the top 15 as soon as next week. Kansas State, though, right behind them. They beat Oklahoma State 42-20, annihilating the Cowboys, maybe eliminating them from Big 12 title contention. They were my preseason pick to win the Big 12. Those hopes are still alive with that victory. Very, very impressed from what I saw from Kansas State on Saturday afternoon, especially on the ground game where they put up 300 rushing yards on the Cowboys. Also in the Big 12, got a handful of teams kind of clustered there. Utah drops 10 spots. Bad loss. Salt Lake City is a very tough place to win, very tough place to play. That was not the case on Saturday when Arizona stormed in there and won by 13 points. Very concerning for the Utes. It really just comes to show how important Cam Rising is to this team. He's missed the last few weeks. They were able to get by for a few games, unable to get by against the Wildcats at home. Could not move the ball at all. The defense could only hold on for so long. They dropped 10 spots in a game where I believe they were, double-digit favorites, if not almost double-digit favorites. This Utah team still has a lot of potential. They can still reach their goal of winning the Big 12, but it all comes down to Cam Rising's health. And if you're a Utah fan, you can't help but wonder what if. Last year, he's out for the entire season. This year, he's missed a handful of games. Now you've got a loss on your schedule. Very, very frustrating for Utah, but they do plummet after a very bad home loss, similar to the one that Ole Miss suffered to Kentucky. Rounding out our top 20, Illinois does drop 4 spots. They don't get heavily punished. Penn State is a difficult place to play. They're a very good team. Illinois still has some quality wins on their resume. They only lost by 14, so I'm not going to send them spiraling down our rankings. I still like what I'm seeing from Brett Bielema's squad on both sides of the ball. Really, I thought they held their own. Played better maybe than people expected. They covered that spread in Happy Valley. Illinois still, to me, a top 20 team. Rounding out our top 25, this is where things got a little bit interesting. I've got Boise State up to number 21, ahead of Oklahoma, ahead of UNLV. Boise State's performance on the road at home against Washington State was unbelievable. A Washington State team that was right on the outside looking in of our top 25, has an electric offense. Boise State bottled it up to win 45-24. They beat a Washington State team that did have a win over Washington, did have a win over Texas Tech. That, to me, a little bit better than UNLV's wins currently over Houston and Kansas, neither of which are looking good right now. So obviously you want a strength of schedule type of thing. Boise State getting the better win over a better opponent. They surge up after that dominating victory. They stay ahead of UNLV when it comes to that group of 5 race. They did dominate Fresno State 59-14 without their quarterback. All that drama this last week with the quarterback leaving. And they dominate. Could be better off without him, I say. UNLV will skyrocket in our rankings if they can take down Syracuse this weekend, so watch out for that. But Oklahoma does move up a spot. They narrowly survived Auburn 27-21. That massive pick 6 late in the fourth quarter, the difference maker for the Sooners. The quarterback change looked like it did wonders for them. Still a little bit shaky, still have concerns on offense, but the defense coming through clutch as Auburn continues to struggle. Indiana is in our top 25. Watch out for the Hoosiers. They are 5-0, beat Maryland by 14 points. They were one of our best bets this weekend over on our expert picks. They covered big for us. Love what Kurt Cignetti's doing with the Hoosiers, and don't look now. Their schedule is extremely favorable. Indiana could be a dark horse playoff team if they continue to play at this high of a level. Love what they're doing over in Bloomington. And then Louisville dropping 7 spots following their loss to Notre Dame on the road. A lot of self-inflicted wounds and mistakes from Louisville. A very winnable game for them. Couldn't come through. They go from 18th, but stay in our top 25 barely, at least for one more week. So guys, there you have it. We've got a new number 1 team. Lots of movements, lots of risers, lots of followers. I think only 2, 3, 4 teams stayed the same in our rankings. So a lot of teams shifting spots. It's going to be the case for the rest of the year, especially as we continue through the bulk of conference play. This season has been absolutely insane. Week 6 is supposed to be lackluster, but we know that's never the case. We'll see a lot more shifts when we come back next Monday with our Week 7 GE Top 25. But in the meantime, leave your rankings down in the comments below. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's get ready for another wild week of college football. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of our expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country, coming off another back-to-back 70% weeks in our college football picks. If you haven't signed up for those, you're truly missing out. Go sign up today. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.